Imagine moving into your new home, thinking everything is normal, only to discover someone has been stealing from you for years. Not just stealing, manipulating the system so you pay while they profit. Well, that's exactly what happened to me. And when I finally exposed the truth, let's just say, the look on their face was priceless. If you've ever been underestimated, disrespected, or flat out cheated, then you're going to love this story. Make sure to hit that like button, subscribe, and let's dive into one of the most unexpectedly satisfying revenge stories I've ever lived through. When I first met my husband, he was an American military member stationed in Germany. Life as a military spouse came with its quirks, new cultures, strict rules, and sometimes complicated living arrangements. See, in Germany, you don't just get any size trash can you want. The size of your bin is tied to the number of people in your household. One person? Tiny bin. A whole family? Bigger bin. Simple, right? Except, not for us. When I moved in with my husband, we still had the smallest trash can possible, this ridiculously tiny bin that could barely handle a week's worth of garbage for one person, let alone two. But because I officially registered at his address, the system should have automatically upgraded us to a larger bin. It didn't. And let me tell you, it was miserable. Bags of trash piled up, the smell lingering, and every week we'd have to stuff garbage down like we were packing a suitcase for a 6-month trip. At first, I thought, okay, maybe it's just a mistake. We'll sort it out. So, I called the trash company. I explained the problem, expecting a quick fix. But the woman on the line sounded confused. She said, well, according to our records, your household already has the biggest can available. Wait. What? That didn't make sense. I was standing in front of the smallest bin I had ever seen. I pushed back, and after a few back and forth calls, the company finally sent someone to investigate. That's when the real story started to unravel. The investigator shows up, clipboard in hand, and starts looking around. Then he notices something strange. The landlord's mother, who lived right next door, had a back entrance leading directly into our driveway. Now, here's where things get shady. This woman owned a restaurant. And restaurants, as you can imagine, produce tons of trash, way more than any household. Normally, she should have been paying for commercial trash services, which are much more expensive than residential ones. But instead, she had a tiny household bin, the same size as ours. Why? Because she'd been running a little scam. See, the military rentals, like ours, were supposed to automatically come with the biggest bins. So she'd borrow them from the American tenants. After all, in her mind, the clueless Americans wouldn't notice or question it. They'd just assume it was normal. And it had probably been working for years. I remember standing there, my jaw practically on the floor. She wasn't just inconveniencing us, she was stealing from us. All while treating us like we were too stupid to notice. My heart was pounding. My cheeks were hot. I could feel this mix of anger and disbelief bubbling inside me. How many people had she done this to? How much money had she saved while others suffered? At that moment, I knew, I wasn't going to let this slide. The trash company rep was just as stunned. He took notes, shook his head, and said something like, "This is serious. She's been avoiding commercial rates by dumping her waste into bins meant for you." And I thought, finally. Someone sees it. The trash company took immediate action. They hit her with a fine, forced her to pay for the appropriate commercial-sized bins, and shut down her little scam once and for all. And the best part? The humiliation. She never looked me in the eye again. Not once. No hello, no small talk, not even a fake smile. She went from smugly stealing our trash bin to pretending I didn't exist. I could almost see the resentment radiating off her every time we crossed paths. She knew exactly who had ended her scam, me, the German wife of one of those clueless Americans she thought she could outsmart. I'll never forget the moment the investigator told her. She tried to argue, waving her hands, her voice sharp and defensive, "This is a mistake. I didn't know." But the rep just shook his head and said firmly, "No. You knew exactly what you were doing. And it ends now." Her face turned red. Her lips tightened. And for the first time, she didn't have a comeback. That silence? That was my victory. The woman who thought she could cheat the system, who thought military families were too ignorant to catch on, was forced to pay up. No more stealing bins. No more cutting corners. It wasn't just about trash. It was about respect. About not letting someone walk all over you because they think you won't fight back. And in the end, her arrogance cost her far more than a free trash can ever saved her. You know, people think revenge has to be loud or dramatic. But sometimes, the sweetest revenge is just exposing the truth and watching someone's entire scheme collapse. Karma has a way of taking out the trash, literally, in this case. If this story gave you that same rush of just as I felt, make sure to smash that like button. And tell me in the comments, what's the most satisfying revenge you've ever seen? Don't forget to subscribe for more stories where karma serves the trash right back where it belongs.